Fires raged over large areas in Los Angeles, city of 2.5 million people. Far and away the worst racial outbreak in these parts.
Today we are committed to a worldwide struggle to promote and protect the rights of all who wish to be free.
As long as Negro boys and Negro girls are forced to live life without dignity and without respect, we will not be satisfied.
Willing to be beaten for democracy, and you misuse democracy in the street. You beat people bloody in order that they will not have the privilege to vote.
By 1957, the Civil Rights Movement had made many major advances. With the first attempts at school desegregation seen in the famous Supreme Court case, Brown versus the Board of Education, public opinion was changing rapidly. Other forms of desegregation attempts can be seen in events such as the Montgomery bus boycott, where a young leader named Martin Luther King Jr. successfully led a peaceful protest against the black in the back policy administered by the Montgomery Bus Company.
Quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood, now is the time.
Although segregation of schools was ruled unconstitutional in 1954, many schools refused to integrate, and when they did, it was handled with such disgrace that the students ended up receiving an extremely negative effect. A prime example of this can be seen in the attempted integration of Little Rock Central High School. By being emotionally and physically attacked by thousands of white rioters, the Little Rock Nine created civil rights history. The Little Rock Nine affected the civil rights movement by using pathological appeals, the media, and its national status. The pathological appeals created by the situation involving the Little Rock Nine affected the civil rights movement. The students involved in the attempted desegregation of Little Rock Central High School were students that had bright futures, didn't get in trouble, and were smart. They were attempting to attend Little Rock Central solely to receive a better education. They knew that they would have to give up their chance at making it into activities or athletics because they would never be able to make the team. People felt badly about how these high school children were being treated, and it helped the civil rights movement continue with newfound strength. The advocates of the civil rights movement were repulsed at what these 9 students were being put through.
American students of any color to attend any public institution they select without having to be backed up by troops.
Students were being attacked, insulted, and spit upon. Some even took it as far as to yell that they were going to lynch the students. If anyone, white or black, were to side with them, they were called even worse things than the students were experiencing. Little Rock Central High School's attempts at desegregation were a great case for the civil rights movement because it appealed to the emotions of its supporters and non-supporters. Listen as Elizabeth Eckford shares her own personal experiences.
We began moving forward. The eerie silence of that moment would forever be etched in my memory. All I could hear was my own heartbeat and the sounds of boots clicking on the stone. Step by step, we climbed upward, where none of my people had ever before walked as a student.
As a vastly large source of news to the common people, the media now played a huge role in the way the Little Rock Nine affected the civil rights movement. By 1957, a vast majority of Americans owned televisions as a part of the rabid consumerism that embellished the 1950s. On these televisions were daily news broadcasts, which used graphics and video clips of real-life injustices happening in the world. In this way, Americans saw the terrible things that were happening to the 9 black students attempting to attend Little Rock Central High School. This impacted the viewers exponentially because they could now see the torment with their own eyes, and it suddenly became real to them. For the first time, Americans were witnesses to the unfairness created by desegregation, as opposed to hearing it from uneducated, biased sources. Black reporters trying to cover the story were often verbally and physically assaulted. they were put through as much as the students were. The Little Rock Nine caused a stir nationally, advancing its role in the civil rights movement. The intervention of President Eisenhower brought the news to a national level. By sending troops of the U.S. Army to make sure that 9 students got to school, stressed the massive importance of it. President Eisenhower was fighting Governor Orville Faubus's refusal to integrate Little Rock Central High School.
If resistance to the federal court order ceases at once, the further presence of federal troops will be unnecessary, and the city of Little Rock will return to its normal habits of peace and order.
By making this event such a national process, the civil rights movement was changed forever. Martin Luther King was also drawn into the Little Rock Nine situation because he knew how much of an impact these students would have on the world and the civil rights movement. Many major advances were made to the civil rights movement by 1957. The first attempts at desegregation were seen in the famous Supreme Court case, Brown versus the Board of Education, and have continued up until today. The legend of the Little Rock Nine will continue on into the future as a major turning point in the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was greatly impacted by the Little Rock Nine through the pathological appeals it presented, its use of the media, and its national status. The possibility of absolute racial equality is in our future as a nation, but we have not achieved it yet.